the next video is Pluto Mars. This is one of the fastest turnarounds I ever had on a video. Let's load it up. Yeah. Ooh. So I was experimenting with doing the little MTV opening, where they always have like all the credits and stuff. This is something that I lifted directly from Bill Nye the Science Guy, who always did this on his like science music videos at the ends of his episodes. So this song, I knew that the Pluto probe that New Horizons was headed to Pluto for like a long time. I knew it was coming. It was like coming up in the news, and I kept trying to think of a song for it, and I just couldn't, like, I couldn't make it work. And then on the other hand, I kept thinking, I kept trying to think how I could do Uptown Funk, because it was like the biggest song of all time at the time, and it was like, I loved the song. It was a great, danceable song. It was great. And yes, New Horizons launched in 2006, but the news started hyping it up like maybe 6 months before it reached Pluto, to like strengthening degrees. And I was like resigned to not having one, and I got invited to this convergence conference at in Waterloo at the Perimeter Institute, which is where I got my Perimeter shirt that I sometimes wear. And while I was there sleeping on my cousin's couch, I suddenly realized this idea, like I think it was this outbound probe gonna visit Pluto was like the first thing that entered my brain. And I just like woke up with it one day. I was like, wait, yes, I can do it. I can actually do it. The problem was that the Pluto probe, that New Horizons was set to arrive in Pluto in like a week. And the plan was that I was going to be in Waterloo at the Perimeter Institute, and then my family was going to come pick me up, and we were going to head out to vacation at the beach in Ontario for like a week and a half until after this had happened. And I was like, it wasn't after this had happened, but it was like until right before it was going to happen. And I was like, family, no, we can't. I must make this video. Can you? By this time, I had bought another laptop to do live stuff, another MacBook, and so I asked my mom to like go get into my apartment, I think, and gather up all of my production equipment and like put it in a suitcase and bring it with us on vacation, because I was like, guys, this is time sensitive. This needs to come out when New Horizons, like before New Horizons arrives. And so it was like this big race against the clock. I didn't do much actual vacationing on that vacation. I like stayed in the basement of this cottage that we rented, and I just, clapped to the ceilings and sang things and probably annoyed my whole family. And then as soon as we got home, I like filmed it and spent like, I don't know, like all day, every day putting this thing together just as fast as I could. And it came out pretty well, but you can see there's parts of it that are rushed in it. So for example, it was like super hot that summer, and I just did all of the videoing in like 3 or 4 hours, like as fast as I could. And the last thing I did was the lead vocal. And by the time I did, I was like sweating buckets. It was like 35 degrees out. And so you're going to see, as we watch this video, a very, very sweaty Tim. Melissa Gavin says, workaholic. No. So here's the thing. Here's how my work process works. I delay and I delay and I delay and I delay, and then I work nonstop until I finish the thing. And to do that, I am required to have a deadline, basically. So whether it's you won't graduate until you get unless you get your thesis in by this time, or this video won't work unless you get it out this week before the probe goes, or whether it's, hey, you've got credit card debt and you need to pay your rent, and if you don't put something out, then you will be homeless. That's the sort of thing that actually makes me motivated, which is a little problematic, because the more success you have, the more that means like the more things, the more any given work of art will like pay me in terms of like dollar value. and then there's no deadline until I actually run out of money. So maybe I'm a victim of my own success, and that might be one of the reasons why I haven't put out a video in a year. Let's watch Pluto Mars Outbound Pro ACS Records Kuiper Bell special. Here we go. Nice beard, Tim. Taps. This video is so much cleaner. I mean, there's still like I hadn't figured out how to mask, so I was still like trying to line up boxes by hand, which now I know that there's a way in After Effects that you can actually like, you know, you can make these lines as actual lines and then put them over top and make all your lines nice and perfect. I hadn't figured that out, so I was just, you know, drawing boxes and then dragging them and, you know, micro nudging them. But even so, like, this looks quite good. I'd realized that gradients are a thing and that you can use them to make yourself look good. And I think I had figured out green screening a little better by this point too. Next up. I apologize to anyone for whom that flashing is a problem. I really didn't think about it at the time, but I've had some people in the meantime say there should really be a warning on this video for like epilepsy concerns. And I hope that hasn't affected anyone.
That ice cold, no cellular life on that light globe. This one to them dark worlds, them dwarf worlds, low masterpieces. Chillin', millin', round in Kuiper Bell City. Some folks swoon for Sailor Moon, but Pluto, so pretty.
That's a little cringe. That's still a little cringe. And the use of "she ain't hot" here, like I don't know, feminizing, I don't know if that's a word, but like anthropomorphizing the Pluto, but in particular in like a feminine way, and saying she ain't hot. I don't know about that. That's like, it's a little cringy, Tim.
She ain't hot, but hot damn. Got pole lights to top Karen, and she ain't hot, but hot damn. If this ain't a brand,
I do really like I do really like the editing on this. Like this is the first like real fast-paced editing I did on something like this, and like the way I like highlighting the different voices.
She ain't hot, but hot damn. If this ain't a brand,
that's real. I really like that visualization of like what's happening musically.
New Horizon, man, she ain't hot, but hot damn.
Most of these graphics are.
Say my name, I'm a Pluto fan. She ain't hot, but hot damn. Not a bad use of grand money. Break it down. Nick's drifting.
Like a lot of the like the 3D graphics are. Zach says, for the record, epilepsy triggered by flashing lights is extremely rare. It is popularized by some cartoon episode. Okay, that's nice to know. I wasn't sure what triggered epilepsy. What other things, Zach? If you're knowledgeable in epilepsy, what are the things that do tend to trigger it, or is it just is it not so much? Yeah, there's like a one particular thing. Yep. I was watching a lot of game theory at the time, and the game theory is like super intensely edited with like sort of joke graphics with like double meanings, and I was copying that quite a bit. So I remembered that. So the you know, there's all these names of Pluto's little moons, Nix, Hydra, and for each one I found like some sort of. So this is the lice treatment that I actually got put on my head when I was a kid.
An interview, yo. Hydra, say benvenuto.
Hydra.
So long, Mars, and later Bruno.
I like that line. So long, Mars, and later Bruno. It's clever.
This outbound probe gonna visit Pluto. This outbound probe gonna visit Pluto. This outbound probe gonna visit Pluto.
All these. What I was gonna say is that all these like 3D graphics are from NASA, I think. NASA or like NASA affiliates. Like I just basically went onto their website and was like, hey, what do they have that's available to use by anybody? And take all those and like cobble them together. And like the if you see 2D graphics, then they're more like compilations of other sources, you know, like the Nix and Hydra floating by. Like that's my own intensely wonderful animational skill. Oh, I was trying to, this was the first video where I had decided to double the bass an octave lower to give it like a really deep bass sound. I remember deciding to do that because I was listening to like that groove and bass line of Uptown Funk, and I was like this needs this low end, and I just can't hit it. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna digitally
double my voice to go down an octave,
you know. And I think it's like the way it's mixed. It's
something like this. Don't.
And I was like, I want to actually represent that. So you'll notice that this bass, which is purple, has been doubled as a black and white shadow lower bass.
There's a planet inside of that little spot. Don't believe me, just watch. Come on.
Yeah, like at the time, you hadn't seen... Tim, how dare you point out the boxes don't line up in this video? That's going to bug me more than anything. I'm so sorry. Watch it on a little screen. But believe me, bothers me just as much. There's some boxes that are not quite perfect right angles as well. They're a little bit leaned to one side or something because I accidentally hit a node, and that's always gonna bother me. What was I talking about? I can't remember what I was talking about. Rah! I think that's a lot more prominent in my mix than the original, but I can't tell because there's kind of a psychoacoustic phenomenon where if you see something prominently on the screen, all of a sudden you hear it, and that might be messing with my perception.
Don't believe me, just watch.
But yeah, that's this is this plate back here. This is the original plate that was captured by Clyde Tombaugh off of I can't remember the name of the telescope, but that little spot from there to there in these two, like where it moves back and forth, that's how we realized there was a wanderer in his name, in his lens. Planet, for those of you who are not aware, means wanderer because that's how they characterized planets back in the day. It was anything that moves compared to the stars.
Don't believe me, just watch. 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 Hey, hey, oh, swap.
What is that? What is that snare? It's like a. I think if I were doing you'll see the evolution of my snares, and I bring it up a lot, probably because I'm like overly proud of having finally figured out like that snare, and that's pretty much what I use exclusively now. But I went through phases with the snares, like in Rolling in the Higgs, it's like a, and then by this point I had kind of gone to like a mixed with like a clap, and by the time you get to defining gravity, you'll hear that it's like an inward K, like a, which sounds okay. Like it's a little more punchy, and it's kind of mimicking the that you do with your tongue, but because it's less in your mouth and more in your throat. The inward K has a tendency to like give you spit problems down your throat, and I was always like coughing while I tried to do it. So finally figured out which is, I don't know, maybe I can explain at some point how I do that, but we'll wait until we hear it in the real acapella.
Pretty in it. Looking at gas.
Okay, so here's all let's go back a little bit. Here's all of the different machines on the probe. It's pretty cool how they load this stuff up.
Hey, oh, swap. Pretty in it.
Solar wind around Pluto. So that's self-explanatory. Looking at the solar wind.
Looking at gas, the solar winds hit it. Alice's ultraviolet.
I can't remember what Alice stands for. Presumably it's no, I don't remember. It's a light something. I don't know. Like I said, physicists and their acronyms. I guess planetary scientists too.
Yo, we got Rex. Then there's
video science experiment. PEPSSI is Pluto-Energetic Particle Spectrometer Science Investigation. Sweet. One thing I like about these videos is that I actually they're like time capsules of what I have learned about a subject. So like it's not just for you guys. Like I'll go back and watch these and be like, oh yeah, that's what that means, or like what was going on at that time. And like I've got it's kind of like a little like a mind palace, because I've got all these associations like with every part of this video in terms of what I was reading, what I was thinking at the time, and I probably get a lot of more out of it than everything else, because everything that's here just kind of like hinted at, I had a whole thought behind it, and whether that was communicated or not to you, it'll trigger that entire, you know, neural pathway in me. So ha 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 ha.
Pepsi, Lori, Ralph, Venetia already.
So what's Ralph? I don't know what Ralph stands for. Venetia. I think Venetia wasn't even an acronym. It was just these students decided to name it Venetia, but I could be wrong. Lori, long range reconnaissance imager. I think that's the one that gives the like super high quality pictures.
Lori, Ralph, Venetia already.
Visible and IR imager. Maybe it was this one. I can't remember which one was there was like a long range one. I guess. Wait a second. Which one was the long range one? Was it the one that had long range in its name? Hey, I'm smart.
Ralph, Venetia already. Got thrust streams of hydrazine, locking in the whole thing steady. She ain't hot, but hot.
What's hydrazine?
Damn. Got dust collector and thermal scan. She ain't hot, but hot damn. Got her own plutonium power plant.
Oh yeah, it does. It's not. Is it a nuclear reactor? I don't. No, it's like a passive plutonium system. Like it's not undergoing like active like fission the way that like a nuclear submarine would be. It's just that plutonium has a half-life and is always decaying. And it uses the heat radiated off of this essentially like nuclear waste hydrazine is N2H4. Okay, cool. That makes sense. To like power it at very low power, and like this is how the Voyager spacecrafts or probes are powered, and it's the only way you can really get like a low power. Like, you can run a low-power system for, like, decades, right? Like, the Voyagers are still sending us information, which is pretty cool. And this probe is going to, at some point, become the furthest thing away from Earth that we've ever sent out. Because it's the Voyagers have a head start, but this one is, like, way faster than the rest of them. It took a real high speed, maneuver. I think it did 2 different gravitational boosts, it's just flying. So it's heading out real fast.
Finally get to see Pluto planet or not. Hot damn. Got cameras up and running, break it down. 6 we sail away to you, yo.
Hey, that's another song that I really would love to do because it's such an epic power ballad.
Come sail away, come sail away, come sail away with me.
If anyone didn't know, that is by the band Styx, which is why this line is Styx, we sail away to you.
We sail away to you, yo. Kerberos, that ain't no Pluto.
Hey, it's the three-headed Kerberos, whatever you want to call it, from Hercules.
Oh, we're almost there, break out the brew, yo.
I don't know, I just, like, when I wrote this line, break out the brew, yo, I was just like, is there a Pluto beer? Someone's got to have made like a planet's beer, and I googled it, and lo and behold, yep, there is one.
This outbound probe gonna visit Pluto. This outbound probe gonna visit Pluto. This outbound probe gonna visit Pluto. Every night we get clearer shots. Don't believe me, just watch. Come on.
Hey.
Don't believe me, just watch.
I love that bass line there.
Don't believe me, just
it's such a good riff.
Don't believe me, just watch. Don't believe me, just watch.
That was a cool graphic to put together because like they're kept being as the probe approached Pluto, it kept like taking these binary shots of Pluto and Karen, and I think the initial one here,
believe me, just watch.
Like these, the first one is like these are from like Earth-based telescopes, and then like getting all these shots from different sources and like lining them up to actually show the progression. I like that, even though it goes by in like a second.
Don't believe me, just watch. Don't believe me, just watch.
I can't hit Bruno Mars notes. I'm faking it with falsetto, guys. And this, by this time, like I think I made this part like the day before I released the video, And this was like 2 days before the flyby actually happened. So I think this was pretty much the highest quality picture that existed like at the time when I put out the video. The bass here is so cool too. Not this part, but do 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 do. So funky. Yeah.
Hey, musical scientists.
That's a good one. I like that video.
Hope you enjoyed the video and hope you're excited for Pluto. NASA's New Horizons probe is going to be making its closest approach on Tuesday, but we're going to be
I don't know what day this was released on, but it was the Tuesday after.
Receiving data for months to come, so it's an exciting time to be a science fan. This video is supported in part by
this end screen is quite a bit better. I've cleaned it up considerably. I think because I was less worried about promoting things and more just like, hey, I've got Patreon now. Like, let's put that, and I don't know, just like the overall. This is like the meme impact font. Yeah, this definitely looks better. You're getting there, Tim. You're getting there.
my proud patrons on Patreon. If you'd like to become an Acapella Science supporter, you can go to patreon.com/acapellascience to
Nice. Hey, the surface light.
find out more. You can get posters, personal hangouts, or your name at the end of a video, like Donald Botkin here. So click on over.
Donald Botkin, man, that I've never talked to Donald Botkin, but he was like Aaron War is my brother-in-law, and I think he was the very first person to give me like a donation at the I'll show you out in a video level. But Donald Botkin, man, that dude like was supported me like pretty much right off of when Patreon started. And he's still there. He's still like, still being supportive. And I like see messages from him once in a while, and it's really cool. I don't know, and I still don't really know anything about him.
If that sounds good. Otherwise, you can buy MP3s or posters by clicking the links. But most importantly, don't forget to subscribe and share this with.
Most importantly, I'm going to tell you the order of operations that you need to approach this with.
Your friends so they too can.
Oh, this was the shirt that I had just gotten from the conference that I went to at Perimeter, where I got the where I got the idea for this thing. So that's cool.
Catch a case of Pluto fever. My name is Tim Blay. This has been Acapella Science, and I can't wait for Tuesday. So long.
Acapella Science.
Alrighty. Oh, and then we have a fade out. Yeah. Yeah, that's good. That's how to do an old style end screen. I mean, it's better anyways. Alrighty. I think we're gonna end it there. We're gonna have to wait until next time to do the Nerd Manifesto. I don't know. Should we keep doing this tomorrow? I gotta get a guest back at some point. But yeah. So we're gonna have to wait till next time to do the Nerd Manifesto because we gotta do some singing.